Yeah.
Okay. I should have
You're not
done
comfortable with
makeup.
that?
Now, I wish I had done a little makeup. Let me see if I can put lipstick,
Oh, you look
lip
good.
gloss. Okay, thank you. Lip gloss. I've been.
Yeah, we're
All
live.
right now. All
Okay.
right.
You can turn off your video if you want to quickly do something and then come back on while I introduce you.
Okay. All right. Good. Is the sound okay? Do I need to?
Yeah, this is good.
Okay.
All right, I'll
Uh,
come in. It's Soul Sisters right here on Smooth 98.1, the station that loves music, loves life, loves everybody. And we've got something for you. If you're a man, if you're a woman, if you're a brother, if you're a sister, if you're an adult, an elder, or a child, a baby, we have something for everyone. If you're in doubt, I'll tell you some of the things. For instance, today, right now, is for Soul Sisters. On Soul Food for the past month, we've been talking about aging and what happens in aging and your health and wellness. And of course, on Saturdays, we have something that we call Curious Mind. That's for the children between 6 to 15 years of age. And not to mention that all through the week, we've got different programs for you. So yes, there is something for everyone right here on Smooth 98.1. So Wednesdays are dedicated to the sisters, the multipliers, the women, the strong
hmm.
ones all around the world who are holding it down, smiling through the pain and making sure that they do not stay down. When life throws lemons at them, they not just make lemonades, but they add a little bit of sugar in there. So that means they have to source their ingredients from all around. So yes, special appreciation to the women. And that's why this morning we're talking about those one who definitely great guts define them, the entrepreneurs. So in your entrepreneurship journey, there are some things you need to know as a female entrepreneur. So that's what we're talking about this morning. But hey, like I mentioned, the brothers are not excluded as well. So you can get your writing pad, your pen, and some things for you to add to yourself as well. And you can also tell the sisters to come around. Stream live at the website, and you can listen live also. That is www.smooth91.fm. There is no excuse that you're not on the road does not mean you should not listen. We are live on YouTube where you can see my face and that of my guest, youtube.com/smooth 91 FM Lagos. And on days like this, I am particularly excited about technology because it's what has made this conversation a possibility. Imagine somebody being in a continent many, many, many miles away and in a totally different time zone. It's morning here, it is evening where she is. So yes, thanks to the wizardry of technology. That said, my guest is the founder and the chief executive officer of Advantage Health Africa. She was previously the chief operations officer for the Tony Elumelu Foundation. She was a consultant at the Financial Institutions Training Center and at Accenture. She has also consulted for the World Bank, AAIN, AFDP, so many organizations, and she has quite the number of awards as well. She served on the board of Hallmark HMO, trustee of the Saved Medicines Foundation. She was an alumnus of the African Women Entrepreneurship Cooperative, Cascado, as well as the Joseph Business School, Nigeria, where she emerged the valedictorian of the Pioneer Set in 2021. And in the same year, she was the winner of the Bayer Foundation Women Empowerment Award. She got the Google Black Founders Fund and the Y Niger's Person of Year in 2021. And in 2022, she was in the top 20 shortlist for the Jack Ma's Africa Business Heroes top list. So, with so much years of experience, I have my guest here ready to share literally with us the wealth of knowledge that she has gathered
Wow.
and racked of. So please welcome Abimbola Adebakin. Good morning or good evening.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Nice to be here with you. So thank you very much for having me.
Always a pleasure. I think this is the second time here, and I'm super grateful
Yes,
for
it
it.
is.
Thank
Yes,
you.
it is.
So now you, like I mentioned, going by just 1/10 of what you have done that I just read out, you have had quite the journey in entrepreneurship, from setting up Advantage Health Africa that has a number of things, including my medicines, including, I think, remind me now, my pharmacy, my medicines,
My pharmacy, my medicines, my pharmacy, we've got my Advantage.
yeah.
Well, recently my Care Plus, and we've got an Advantage Pharma, which is marketing and sales for an exclusive range of pharmaceutical products that we have so franchised for across Nigeria.
So that's like you are a great great grandmother of entrepreneurship because you've given birth to many babies. So
Well,
what are some of those, if you were to give an overview of your entrepreneurship journey, what are some of the things that you have realized?
so for me, entrepreneurship has come a long way. The term is used loosely to describe opportunistic hustling. So you find there's probably a flood and you can carry people across the road in that flood and make a quick buck. Some people refer to that as entrepreneurship all the way, but I think it's a continuum. So there are opportunities that come your way and you're a hustler, you go for it and you make a quick buck. That doesn't necessarily mean that you camp there and build a career out of it. But that's on one end of the pole. To me, you go all the way through the journey of entrepreneurship to a point where you find solutions that can be sustainable, that can be reproduced, that can actually stand the test of time and solve those problems, in a resounding manner. That's the type of thing that appeals to me when I talk about entrepreneurship. So that's what it is to me. That's what I'm doing currently.
So for you, entrepreneurship is not just that thing you delve into when you're tired of your job or something you do when you feel you can't find a job. It's way more
Yes,
immersive.
that's another point on that long continuum where you're in between jobs. And really, for decades, that was the perception you had about entrepreneurs, that they were in between jobs or they were not quite engaged and were in a confused state. And it can happen that you're in a state where you're trying to crack a problem and you appear like you're not interested in a corporate job. But right now, entrepreneurship has evolved even as a profession. It's evolved as a solid, credible way of occupying yourself, your talent, your space, and using all of those ingredients to fashion out credible solutions. I would call Jeff Bezos an entrepreneur. I would call Tony Elumelu an entrepreneur. Can't say those are people that are in between jobs. Those are people that found something and went right for it.
Okay, the network was a little bit wobbly. Hopefully, it does not do that.
Oh
Now, I
no.
think that's from our end. We'll try and fix that. But we'll take a short break. And when we come back, you're someone who's quite passionate about helping the African entrepreneur. So, if you
Yes.
were to describe or give an overview of the African entrepreneurship landscape, what would it be? We'll come to that after this break. You're listening to Soul
Okay.
Sisters right here on Smooth 98.1. And what we're talking about this morning is Entrepreneurship 101, those things you need to note as a female entrepreneur. We'll be right back after this break. I think it was our network that was in and out at some points, but it should be
Oh
good after.
really?
Yes, it's good now.
Okay. So you didn't hear me or it was
I had some.
sluggish? Oh wow. Okay.
Oh, I'm just sending you a message that you're in the waiting room.
Oh, that's fine. I tried to join early so that we could practice. But it's
Okay,
fine.
thank you.
Come with me. Basking freedom. There are no deadlines here. You can take your time. The sunset from above. The visual buffet. Pictures capture moments.
I saw some posts recently that your hairstyle is the hairstyle most men want.
Your
Have you seen that?
This was so interesting because that was the first thing I had a guest on Friday. So he's one of our guest analysts on our film show. That was the first thing he said, that this is the hairstyle most men want. And I'm like, what are most men? Who
It is
created
actually
it?
trending. It is actually trending.
I just wanted a break from wigs. As if men really know what they want.
Yeah, at least they're saying what they like.
All right, we're back.
Okay.
Love music and love life. We are Smooth 98.1 and we are discussing entrepreneurship as it applies to women this morning. Now, we have given the groundbreaking tips, and if you have not been a part of the show, don't worry, you are well in time to learn and listen to more about it. I do have as my guest this morning, Abimbola Adebakin, who is the founder and CEO of Advantage Health Africa. Now, before the break, I said I would ask you when we get back, as an African entrepreneur who is passionate about helping other entrepreneurs grow, what you think of the landscape generally, the entrepreneurship landscape in Africa, because the data is quite interesting. According to a report that was published by Fate Foundation in 2021, it was titled State of Entrepreneurship in Nigeria Reports. It said that entrepreneurs are the bedrock of the Nigerian economy. And data from NBS, which is the National Bureau of Statistics, said that MSMEs, as micro, small, and medium enterprises, account for 49.8% of the GDP. And then in terms of the employment, they account for about 85% of total industrial employment and are spread all across the sectors of the economy. So that gives us an idea of where we are. But then generally in Africa, what's your take?
So I have two sides to remark about. One is probably the positive side, and that is that entrepreneurship it has lent credence to the ingenuity and the hardworking nature of women in Africa. You'll find that there are more women who can express themselves with owning a challenge and going at it in an entrepreneurial fashion. And I say this also to buttress the point of that report. There are a lot of women that are entrepreneurs today. And we've learned it from our mothers, our grandmothers, and our great grandmothers. My grandmother or my great grandmother from Ondo State was really, really an entrepreneur. Now, I use that to compare with some other continents like Europe, where you find a smaller percentage of them as women who are entrepreneurs. And I have a friend who recently relocated to handle a project she was doing here. And she moved from handling a project we had like 50% women and going to Europe, and she found maybe 5% women. So we have better representation in Africa. Unfortunately, it doesn't quite translate to the amount of funding that women get. It's almost as though you still will, give leverage to men over and above women. So we have had to bootstrap further and maybe more strongly than men have had to. It could change, and I think it is changing. More attention has to be given to the fact that it has been proven that women-led businesses tend to thrive and do better than male-led businesses. We may need to test that across Africa to validate that hypothesis, but actually there are reports around it. I also think that there are bigger industries or bigger ventures that women need to take a hold of. So if you look at micro, small, medium, I tend to find more women at the micro and the small level. It's almost as though we think that we're not as audacious as is needed to handle medium-sized companies and large-sized companies. So we probably need to move our heart and our audacity further along the line to take hold of bigger industries. So I commend, people that have championed big ventures that have raised billions of dollars to, support their ventures, if not billions, at least large millions in Africa that are women. people like the promoter of Main One. She initiated something, went for it, and you can see that even whatever about all statistics, it's a big venture, and we need more women in such big ventures. So that those are my comments right now.
Thank you. I did think that this was going to come at the end, when we talk about the unique challenges that female entrepreneurs face, but at least we are cutting into it. So maybe we should take a little bit of a bite. And that was because of what you said, that women tend to be at the micro small level instead of just pushing for them. So according to a report by Forbes, it says that lack of confidence is one of those challenges, maybe self-inflicted challenges or societal inflicted challenges that women tend to experience in the entrepreneurship journey, and that they underestimate their skills. They are not confident about launching out and just going for the bigger fish. Now, you are playing in the big league, if I dare say. I believe you've raised up to 1.2 million US dollars in funding. How were you able to navigate this?
I think it's about the audacity and to think that, look, I'm in a big industry and I have no business playing small here. Why should I? Probably it's the way I've been nurtured, but we need more and more women to understand that you have a lot to offer. I have done things without a gender focus almost all of my life. I have regarded myself simply as an African with with an ability to run things and run them successfully. So probably more women need to think of themselves first as humans and do a lot of self-appreciation beyond saying, oh, I'm a female. So that maybe we see fewer disadvantages and we regard ourselves as able humans. And I want to, a thought came to my mind when you were talking about how if you see a vacancy, they would list maybe six, seven things that they want. And a woman is more likely to look at those six, seven things and say, oh, I've got just two, I don't qualify. And so will cross herself off of applying. While a man would look at those seven things and say, oh, I've got two, let me apply. I'll be able to show them that the two that I have are adequate. I think that self-affirming ability of males in Africa probably is something we need to borrow, practice, 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 and get better at it. We're not as self-affirming as we should be.
Mm. Okay. Now, still back to that report by Faith Foundation in 2021, they said in majority of the states that were considered in the survey, men were dominating the entrepreneurship space. But then some states like Abia states, Bauchi states, Edo states, Gombe, Kwara, Lagos, and Oyo, women were more entrepreneurs than men. Do you have any comments on that, or maybe possible reasons?
I need to study that report better myself. Probably I'll see a trend. But when you mention Oyo, you know about the Oyo Empire, you know the role of women there.
Yes.
You know Abia, you know how women fought, you know Lagos. Lagos is so cosmopolitan. Maybe some of those states have a history of enabling women and have showcased women. Or probably you have more role models that have emerged from those places. And so you can relate with them and therefore say, why not? Why not me? Why can't I also go forward? But I think that ultimately, whether we're male, female entrepreneurs, it's really to appreciate the role of entrepreneurship in restoring the glory of Africa. And I'm very deliberate about restoration and not just establishing. Africa as a continent has a history of greatness and of being one to reckon with. In the past, you look at our culture, look at our arts, look at our industry. We built pyramids that up until today defy, reasoning. We have done great things in the past. So apparently, entrepreneurs need to pick just one aspect of life in Africa, whether it's shelter, food, clothes, healthcare, and focus on it and bring it to the jigsaw puzzle that is Africa. and put your own piece in it. There are too many areas that require us to just stand up. Men, women, young, old. It's agnostic. It's not sector specific. It's not age specific, and it's not education specific as well. Be open to just find a problem, dig deep, solve it, and move forward. So I would read that report better and maybe be able to give a better opinion. But really, to me, let's just do it. Let's just do it.
Now, while it's been agreed upon going by a number of studies that entrepreneurship is like the lifeline of the country of Africa, a good number of people hold the opinion that the government is out to get entrepreneurs, especially in Nigeria, with all the bottlenecks. This policy that makes it hard for you, this whole process that makes it difficult for you to do this and that. So you said something about the government can be your friend or the government is your friend. And I wonder if an entrepreneur agrees with that. What do you say? So that
So
relationship between the governments, yeah.
you've picked words from my videos on YouTube, and I stand by it. I sent it to people, and somebody vehemently said to me, "No, no, 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 no! Government is not my friend. Government is not my friend." I said, "You know what? Listen to the video. The point I'm making is that government should be your friend. At worst, they should be neutral to you. But please do not think you will succeed in entrepreneurship or in any venture building where government is not your friend. Any small edict, fiat, law, or anything can wipe out 20, 30, 50 years of hard work. If government stands against you, it's counterintuitive. It's not productive. So you cannot go on with an attitude of I can do this without government. I used to have that attitude, but I realized that in all of the successes I have recorded, government actually played a part. When I was setting up the first online pharmacy that had an aggregated model in Nigeria, I actually took time out to go and meet the regulator to show them what we were doing and how we would launch and how we would address matters. That's government. Now, if that institution, that regulator, stood against me and said, look, I mean, but I would not have a law that permits you to go forward, I would not have been able to go forward. But what I played with was the fact that there was no law that restricted me from going forward. And we had a common understanding. And I think more and more entrepreneurs need to do that, especially when you're innovating. You must find beyond product and market fit and then team building, your third most important work, so to speak, to do is stakeholder management. And your priority, your number one stakeholder is the government as relates to what you're doing. For some, it's the government as at the local government level. For some, it's at state level. For some, it's at federal level. Whatever level it is, you must find either that they are friendly with you and you are ally, or they are neutral. But the third situation where they are antagonistic to you is not worth it. But it all boils down to trust because we do not trust and regard government as productive or pro progress, right? They also do not trust us as pro support and pro solution to people. They think we're just out as profiteers. They think that we'll make a quick buck at the expense of those that they have pledged to support. Forget our perception around corruption or the other. Government is actually meant to help to sanitize and make the community or the society safe for the indigents or the citizens. If we come with distrust and they come with distrust, we'll be at point at loggerheads. But they will always win because they've got the power. My whole point about government is your friend is that make them your friend if they're not yet your friend, or move them from antagonistic to neutral, and let's be okay. You go, I go. We don't oppose ourselves. It's a long speech. I could go on and on about it, but please be intentional. If it requires you self-reporting, if it requires you self-regulating, if it requires you being upfront with paying all of your dues, please do it. If it requires you getting them involved as you are creating so that they are co-creators, not necessarily funding your project, not necessarily paying you, but they understand where you're coming from. Be as proactive in cultivating a friendly relationship with government as possible. It may backfire. It may, but at least you've learned how to do it, and you've also learned how not to do it, that you can keep using and using as you grow.
Thank you so much. Befriend the government. And if you don't want to befriend them, at least don't make them your enemy. Very important. We'll go on another break. And when we come back, we will get started on that issue of co-founder, especially as a woman is thinking, I need help. I can't do this alone. Or better still, I'm trying to seek for funding and they say, I need a co-founder. How does she navigate this? We'll be right back. You're listening to Soul Sisters on Smooth 98.1. We've got a minute, 30 seconds break and back after that.
Yeah, I'm in front of the house. Last night, you did change it, and you know, wait, what's 2 days ago that you bashed your car, and now they're telling me another one, boy. Now blessings on blessings on blessings. You just upgraded like that. And be quiet. Is that how people buy cars? It's the car my insurance company. Ask them to give me while my car is getting fixed. After company that took your car to better auto shop all within 24 hours. Right. Why you don't show me the way? My insurance company make me back up for 3 months. They jump off around you.
Cements or Moto Insurance is the one-time insurance feel button upgrade and leaves you wanting to say thank you for what you truly deserve. Visit www.axamentor.com or call 0700 Axamentor today. Axamentor.
Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the Crown Princess of Child.
This.
They are a cold fabulous. They are reality royalty. Meet the real housewife of Lagos in the street. Yes, 5 of your favorite housewives because
Okay, so we come back to co-founder, and then afterwards we talk about surviving change as an entrepreneur. Then we'll get back to that. Okay. Love music and love life. We are Smooth 98.1 and you're listening to Soul Sisters. Every Wednesday from 11 till 11:50, we discuss different issues relating to the woman and educate her, inform her, while we also listen to her takes. Now, you've been listening to the talk on Entrepreneurship 101. Take it as your introduction to entrepreneurship and some of the very important ingredients before you get on the journey. And if you're already on the journey, well, think of it as a crash course on how to be better. And I do have my guest this morning. That is Abimbola Adebakin. You can join us on YouTube and drop your comment as well. youtube.com/smooth91 FM Lagos. You can also send WhatsApp messages. That is WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. Again, 0809-444-0981. And make sure that you include your name. If you are asking a question or you're telling us where you were sending a message from, please include your name and we'll take your message. Now, back to the issue of co-founder. It is an interesting topic, which I think you've talked about.
Yeah.
Why do we even need co-founders in the first place? When should you get a co-founder? Should you get a co-founder? What kind of co-founder should you get?
I think the concept of co-founding anything relies on the premises of two good heads are better than one. And I put good, even though we grew up with two heads are better than one. It's actually two good heads are better than one that resonates with me when I think of co-founding. It's a mix of strengths. If I'm an introvert and I'm really technical and I'd rather just build and keep my head down, I probably need help to have a well-rounded venture in areas of maybe facing people, interacting, sales, things that need me to be more extroverted. And it's not everyone that can do that magic of being, a jack of all trades. So sometimes you find that if you focus on an area and someone else focuses on another area. Remember, this is the type of entrepreneurship that is building enduring ventures, that is building and solving big problems in a big, complex way. If you were just running a quick hustle, you probably don't need a co-founder. But if anybody is going to trust you with their resources to support you, whether in debt or equity, they want to know that you have the capability, and there's so much in the literature that shows that those who invest in ventures tend to invest in your team, such that even when your first iteration fails, they will stay with you because they see something in you and in your team. So they feel safer and more confident when they think that it's not just one person who could be a loose cannon, who could appear as, is it a Jekyll or a Hyde in one situation and then turns around and has so many skeletons in his or her cupboard. So really for them, it's to give them that comfort. For me also, the co-founder is essential to help you so that there's a blend and a mix of strengths. Every human being comes with strengths and limitations. That's a fundamental. Now, if you have mastered your strengths, you probably have enough to focus on your limitations in a way that you can navigate all of the topsy-turvy life of an entrepreneur. The picture we have of entrepreneurs that 1 minute you're high, the next minute you're down, the next minute you're high. Imagine being one that is so emotional, and the highs and the lows, you make decisions along that time. Sometimes you need a co-founder. Now, having said that, it's become quite fashionable in the past 6, 7 years to present a united front with a co-founder so that you're more credible and people will invest in you because it's now more fashionable to go out looking for investment. So the venture capital world likes to see co-founding.
Mm.
I say that that is what they like, but that does not mean that's what they will get. I am a sole founder, meaning I founded Advancing Health Africa by myself. Yes, then at CAC, I needed to register with somebody else as a director. And so, of course, I had someone else, but it was a very minor share. Today, you can do it 100%. So the law is even enabling sole founding. But the point is, did I at any point in time look for co-founders? Yes, I looked for and I didn't get. It didn't quite work out. If probably I got, it would have been fantastic. But where I made up for that is in empowering at least 2 people around me. So we run an autonomous ship, so to speak. And in some way or the other, I have found colleagues who work with me as staff that are more or less carrying the heart and the spirit of the organization. And you could, if we didn't tell you our designations, you'd actually think that they were co-founders. So I have been very fortunate from that point of view. But I think it also takes the entrepreneur to be open to know that I need help from time to time. And it would be great if I have help from people who are vested in this venture I'm building. But I have seen co-founding go so wrong and so lethal, so nasty, that it was great for them to part ways. And one person went one way, another went one way, and they built different things, and they are happy. So co-founding is not by force, please. Do not force yourself. It's better if you have help. Days when you are down, the person is up. It's better
Mm.
when you can create a united front when you're speaking to stakeholders that have influence in your business. But if you don't have, please look for credible team members that can stand with you. There's so many examples of where hand holding, helping you through tough times can be better if you have those who are vested in it as well. And of course,
Mm.
it helps you to stay strong. Women, we need help. So many people use or leverage their spouses and their co-founders. Doesn't always work out. So in my video, I talk about communication is important, understanding roles and responsibilities, and respect and trust. You don't want to polarize your team. You don't want to say A and your co-founder is saying B, and both of you are at loggerheads. You don't want that confusion. It's like children in a family where they see that the father and the mother are conflicting, they will leverage that. They will use it. That's the instinct. So please don't create such avenues. Don't give, yourselves, the torture of openly disagreeing or working at loggerheads and polarizing the team. And that could happen with senior level, whether you're co-founders or not. But please be careful about communication and work styles. It's so, so important that you know how to work together. I
Mm.
could say more.
Thank you. Even the
Yeah.
helpmate needs help. So it's important for you to get help
Mm.
when you need it. Now, still on titles, there was something about the chief executive officer knowing when to maybe transition roles. Now, there were people who, from the inception, they were everything, one man army, you're your chief this,
Yeah.
you're that, you're.
Yeah.
Now, when do you know, or how do you know you've gotten to that point when you have to transition, maybe stop being the CEO of your business or stop being, I don't know. When do you know you have to transition?
Okay. So I want to emphasize that role, CEO. That's the chief executive officer, or you can say the chief executing officer. And when you start off and you're bootstrapping, you typically start as you with one, two, or three, and then it grows. And as you're growing organically, there are certain roles that you're hiring others to come to play that they will
Mm,
do better than you. Imagine, therefore, where you have transitioned so well that there are some roles you should look away from. You're no longer the executing officer. At a point in time, you should understand that your input may be more advisory, more of the coach, more of the one that is at the back, and you have empowered many people or several people or key people to be the executor. If it is practical, please have a plan to exit the execution. I started Advantage Health Africa as a mature entrepreneur, so this may not apply to everyone. But please still have a plan. And the code of good corporate governance in Nigeria in the financial services sector even encourages CEOs to stay in that role for not more than 10 years. So I entered Advantage Health Africa with a 10-year plan in my head to run this as a chief executive officer. There's so many other things I could be afterwards. I could get transitioned onto the board of directors as a non-executive director. I could emerge from this role and get a splinter organization. I could actually become a consultant to the organization if the organization continues after me, maybe as it is, or is sold, or it becomes a different entity, whatever. Your relevance should not be tied to the title. I wish fewer people tied their egos and their relevance to titles. I wish. But as it is, it can be quite flattering. You enter a place and they say, oh, this is our CEO. There's a lot of hype around that role. But I have seen, and you have seen, with Google, the founders were able to step aside and hire a CEO as an agent. So you can actually step aside into other things, maybe into innovation, into research, into being the CTO, the technology person, and have someone who is excellent in administrative work, excellent in able to operationalize things and bring them to life, be the CEO. That is possible. So I've said many things. Please have a plan to transition. If it's a 5-year or 10-year journey, work towards that. And that helps to discipline you because you can see the end and reverse engineer, from where you are. You might even have other roles within the organization or go on and do other things. Why not? Why not? After your 10 years, go on a holiday, a well-deserved one, full one this time. And you can do other things as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We'll go on a short break, the last one. And when we come back, I just want you to also say a thing or two about protecting yourself as well. I think one of the reasons why some people do not want to hand over that position, as well as every other thing that comes with it, is because they are worried. How do I not Or how do I prevent a Steve Jobs situation where, people turn on me and stuff like that? So just a quick word into how you can still be in control, or maybe hire people who you can trust. Or I'm not sure what your take will be on that after this break. And then we'll come to your questions on WhatsApp. You can keep sending the messages. That is 0809-444-0981. We'll be right back.
Okay.
So we are running out of time.
Time flies. Time flies. I keep checking because, oh, all right. I'll be more succinct in the last leg.
Even I don't think there is so much you can do. What needs to be said needs to be said. But yeah, just would hurry through it. Just the last part about how you can protect your business even while you're standing back, and then we'll take a message or two on WhatsApp. Then
Okay, you can also tell them to follow my YouTube channel for more. And I
yeah,
share
you
these
say that at the end.
videos. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so at the end you say that.
Okay. To hear more.
Plus double data offer day for what new and existing subscribers there. The title Swamp King is reserved only for the chosen. For no one else carries an aura worthy of its weight. Follow Match's epic journey to power and the all-new action-packed drama Slum King, starting October 8th and showing Sundays at 8 p.m. on Africa Magic Showcase on DSTV and GoTV.
Okay. We're back. That's what you get on Smooth 98.1. In addition, you get educative talks as well. And that's what we're doing right now on Soul Sisters. Every Wednesday from 11 till 11:50, we talk about issues that, the women can benefit, and also the ones that are affecting them, and we shed light on them. Today, we are all about Entrepreneurship 101, things to note as a female entrepreneur. And I do hope that you have been taking notes and you'll find them quite valuable. Now, my guest is Abimbola Adebakin. You can see us on YouTube. So you can go to our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/smooth91FM Lagos. You can also drop your comments there. You can come to WhatsApp and ask your questions or say anything you'd like to say. WhatsApp is 0809-444-0981. Musti on WhatsApp says, good morning. Surely two good heads are better than Olori Beske. But trust is that expensive variable that people don't want to get beaten twice. Look at boy and girl bands. We even see twins parting ways. Some people would rather take the long road than follow who go stress you. What about facilitators? That is someone who helps promote and don't want to get involved in ownership, etc. Also about down days. What about community? That is those who are into entrepreneurship and hangout. Thanks for sharing and join the lecture. Then if other goes to say, how do you encourage detachment? People say Nigerian businesses are hardly legacy companies because the founders want family to take over. What do you say? During their lifetime, the core may start failing and they need to come back. A recent example is Indigo Books founder who recently came back to the company. Well, what do you have to say to that?
Yes, it is. It is a big concern that we don't have organizations or ventures that outlive us in abundance. And I speak about it as well. And in fact, it drove me to do almost a doctoral study around business longevity. And really, it's not so much about trust, but really about the governance and the systems you put in place for the business to be sustainable, reproducible, and for it to be reliable. That's why I preach good corporate governance everywhere. It's about you solving a problem. And imagine solving a problem and taking your hands off it and the problem solves, and then you were not a good manager in the first place. I think that family businesses can thrive. Louis Vuitton shows us that, and the whole group that they oversee. That's a big family business. A lot of Greek businesses, even shipping lines, came
Jewish as
from.
well.
Yes, they come from family businesses. So a family business isn't necessarily evil. So a son or a daughter taking over from a parent is not bad in itself. The point is, have you prepared that child? Have you helped that child to be competent when in office? If that person is competent, learns the role, and is able to grow, in fact, they might take it 5 times, 10 times, 20 times bigger. And that to me is the dream of every entrepreneur that wants to build a legacy. The older you get, you begin to think about legacy. And so succession planning with family members is something to consider. But it's also less common here for us to hand over and have people who are not part of the family succeed us. And probably it's because we're not even aware of what it takes. There can be a system where you hire managers for your business and your shareholding will give you wealth in perpetuity, maybe through dividends, through whatever, but you will be sorted out if that is the return you want afterwards. But there are managers who are hired under, the also the things, agency theory, stewardship theory. They can be hired and they can be motivated and they can be rewarded to keep doing a good job while you, the majority shareholders, are benefiting from the business. So it's not a son, it's not a daughter, it's not a cousin. It's actually a totally, you know, unrelated agent that does a great job. And that model is more common in the West, and we need to adopt it more in Africa. And it's not just Nigeria that you don't have business longevity. All across Africa, we don't have enough dynasties. In Japan, you have companies that have been existing for over 1,000 years.
Yep.
We need more of that. And it's a perspective, it's a way of thinking that will get us there.
I
Musti
was just
said
going to
many other
mention that.
things.
Yes, please
Okay,
go
all
ahead.
right. I said Musti said many other things, but he also talked about alternatives to having a co-founder. For those down days, imagine you're in an incredible team of co-entrepreneurs where you have banded together and you understand how to help yourselves through the tough times of the journey. They're helping you with tips on how to raise funding, how to hire, how to fire. That's another area that entrepreneurs need to learn to fire
Ooh,
people,
yeah.
how to position yourself. They're co-branding, co-exhibiting. Maybe you take a stand and 6 of you share the stand. Those are things that we need, a community of entrepreneurs. And guess what? With the advent of technology and a lot of accelerator programs, we are finding more that of such communities. I belong to the JBS community. We still do master classes, even though I graduated with the Pioneer set. We help one another. We support one another. There are associations now. I'm also the PRO of the Healthcare Federation of Nigeria. We're actually looking for courses to help ourselves to thrive. And that's emerging more and more amongst entrepreneurs. And we need it. It's beautiful to behold. So you can be a sole founder and find safety and support in a community that feels the pains you're going through.
Wow. Unfortunately, we're out of time. Yet there is still so much to talk about. For instance, hiring. I feel like we need an entire show to talk about hiring because unfortunately, sentiments might play a huge role in hiring for a woman. And then she hires people she cannot fire, and that becomes a problem. And I believe in
I think,
entrepreneurship. Please go ahead.
yeah. I think everybody should please visit my YouTube channel. I posted something yesterday on should you hire family members, and I take a position of for and against. That may help a lot of entrepreneurs. It's on my channel is AA to African entrepreneurs. AA as in my alphabet Abimbola Adebakin. Please be careful about hiring hiring Shylocks. Be smart as a snake. Be wise as a snake. Know when to retreat. Know when to back off. And know when to put your foot down and say, this is not working. You will be better off elsewhere. Let us part now and respect ourselves. And please, I've had someone who I swim with come to my house. I've had to fire for insolence directed towards her manager. And why? I could separate myself from the friendship. You must learn that. Otherwise, you'll be taken for a ride.
Compartmentalization is another big thing. And maybe again, we'll have you back one of these days because there are so many issues that need to be touched on. The other part which you mentioned is belonging to networks. So according to studies, it's been said that one of the reasons why you tend to have more male entrepreneurs being, in quote, more successful is the access to networks where they have more men in their circles, they have organizations, all those things that can help them accelerate their growth compared to women. And gradually we're seeing the rise of that, which can be helpful.
Absolutely.
But then there is the need to have more. So maybe we'll have you back in one of these days to talk more about it, because there are so many issues that the female entrepreneur needs to know. Okay.
Thank you for having me. I'll be happy to come back. All right. Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, in the meantime, for people to catch up with you on social media and check more of the tips you put out, how can they do that?
On YouTube, just look for my name, Abimbola Adebakin, or just look for my handle, which is AA2 African Entrepreneur.
All right. Thank you so much. And we are done with the show for today. But the recording will always be available for you on YouTube. And our YouTube channel is youtube.com/smooth91FM Lagos. Thank you, Lagos. Thank you, Nigeria. Thank you, world. And we will be back on the other side playing you soul music to help you get through the day. Well, you're on break, you're at home. Just have a good time. Yes, that's my I'm jealous tone. You're sitting at home. I am here. But hey, it's always a pleasure. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. That was so good.
Thanks.